Ladies and gentlemen, it's episode 17 of Elevation. We are back. 2026, the first episode. We got a new look. However, you guys are staring at us, everything's looking different. I am here with my main man, whichever way he is, over here, Mr. Hardcore Halls. How you doing, brother?
I am doing good. Great to be back. Just excited to be getting back into things here. It seems like it's been forever, man, since you and I have been here together. But just looking forward to another great episode, another great year with WDWA. Just can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, we just had that big snowstorm, man. How you holding up out that way?
Hey, we're holding up. I tell you, it's been a little rough because they barely do anything to our road out here. But fortunately we got 4-wheel drive. We're getting in and out, and but we're getting there.
Yeah, I recently bought a 4-wheel drive Jeep Wrangler Sport early January, and favorite color lime green's beautiful. I've nicknamed her Cecilia. Let me just tell you, man, Cecilia is a beast in this weather. She's getting over the ice, getting over the snow, just manhandling everything. I just told her, I was like, once I get inside you, girl, you got to heat up. We got to do the thing. So, she's good to me. So all love for Cecilia. But yeah, here we are, episode 17. We're warm now. Ice is melting. We're moving along. Tonight, we have a special guest, the winner of the 2026 Women's Rumble and number one contender, Mrs. Scarlett Meidan. Yeah, she'll be on the show tonight. Looking forward to having her. We just got over Chill Factor. What a hell of a show, which I was a little worried, John. We knew the weather was coming in. I was worried. I see Kelly in the chat. We were a little worried about the weather. We thought we were going to have some cancellations. We thought we were going to even have to cancel the show. Luckily, we pushed back 2 hours. The snow pushed back a couple more hours. We were able to get a decent draw, and we packed the place. And another great show in the books with WDWA. Man, what do you think?
Yeah, man, it was another great show, and like I say, another great crowd. I know at one point you were saying, man, we don't have as many people come in as what we normally do. We don't have enough. We don't have our normal number of pre-books. You had said to set up a few less chairs, and then next thing you know, the chairs we didn't set up, we were putting out anyway. So, the great fans of WDWA, they showed up and showed out as always. And, it was great to see them come out and support. And they just never cease to amaze us on how much they show up.
Yeah, and definitely show up and they show out. I mean, whether there's 50 people in there or 150 or 200 plus, it doesn't matter how many people are in there. Like, they're loud from the first bell to the end bell, showing WDWA nothing but love. It's a big love connection between us and the fans, and we just had the best fans in the world. So yeah, just super honored, super blessed that we were able to have that show. Like I said, we were real worried. The anxiety level was up all through the week, and just doors opened up for us. And yeah, another show in the books, John. Let's see the results to that. You want to go ahead and pull that up?
All right. So actually, it looks like we're missing the results one, but that's okay because we do know what happened, and we got the cards here so that we can run through those. And so the first match we had of the night, we had Mr. AJ Morales versus Ty Rockwell.
Yeah, this match definitely set the bar for the entire night. All the matches were good, but the fact that this match went on first is what I think set the pace and set the crowd reaction. I think this match is what brought all the fans up to the level that we needed them at. And nothing but praise for both these gentlemen. Both of them put on a great match, great talent. Um, AJ Morales came away with the victory, which man, he dropped a lot of jaws in this match. A lot of people were wowed by his abilities and the way that he pulls things off. Not to take away anything from Ty, he was doing his thing, but AJ Morales was just one up on this show, John.
Absolutely. Both of those guys put on one heck of a clinic. I don't know, you know, any of these matches would have easily gotten anybody fired up, but these two guys did a heck of a job firing everybody up right at the beginning, and just great athleticism put on by both, and just a joy to watch it. So, it was great to see that match, and just look forwards to seeing more out of those two.
Yeah, me too. Can't wait till they're back here in WDWA. Match 2, John.
Match 2, then we saw Axel Crow return, as well as Sean Phoenix. Both men returning. This first time we've seen either one of them since Axel Crow was handcuffed to the ropes. And, you know, it was good to see Axel back. And, they thought they were going to be slick. They tried to handcuff Axel again, but it didn't work this time. And Axel was able to get away, and, he came out with the victory over Sean Phoenix on this one. But of course, afterwards, Dex and Sean, they attacked Axel. So, we know we have not seen the last of that, because, CEO came out. He's helped save Axel from the two of them. And, Axel's not going to stand for that. So we have not seen the last of that. And of course, Wraith was out there as well. So.
Yeah, this has been a long, ongoing feud between I would say these two guys, but it's Axel Crow versus entire Legion. But ever since Phoenix took a chair shot to Axel's back, this has been nothing but fire. No pun intended to the fireballs that be flying through the air when Dex is involved, but it's just been nonstop back and forth. Unfortunately, for Axel, it's taken up until this time to get any sort of revenge on Legion, and this is far from over. There's no way that just the pinfall is gonna put this to bed. I'm looking forward to what both. I would say again, I can't say both these competitors. This is a Legion thing versus Axel Crow thing, and just looking forward to see where it goes from here, John.
But you knew the action was going to be hot when at the beginning of the night, before the fans even showed up. The second Sean Phoenix showed up on the parking lot, the fire alarm went off.
Yeah.
so you knew it was going to be hot action right off the bat. Yeah. But then we went to the third match of the night. We had a Mid-Atlantic Championship match, a 4-way, where we saw Victor Jones versus Ranch Hand Carlson versus Jamie Haw versus Bo Ross. So, that was a match that it also had a lot of action in it. Victor Jones, if you watch the footage, you'll see Victor Jones actually won that match at least twice. But, Ref Joe was more worried about the action outside the ring, where the match can't be won, than worrying about the action inside the ring, where the match could have been won. And Vic finally had enough, and did a little manhandling of, Joe Lance, did a little manhandle, well, not manhandling, but flew some birdies towards you, although I believe he did push you.
He did.
And then, eventually came back out with a chair to I believe it was Bo Ross. And, so ended up with Sean Carlson retaining the title. And, but there again, like say, it was all around good action, and of course, by Jamie Hall not getting pinned, that keeps his win streak intact because he still is undefeated in WDWA since he was not pinned, and now has issued a challenge for the Mid Atlantic Championship.
Yeah, a lot to dissect in this match. You have four participants. All the top of their game. You have Ranchan Carlson, who's been Mid Atlantic champion for quite some time right now. Who's, every time the deck is stacked against him, he's been able to go in there and knock it out the park. I don't put nothing like negative on our referees. This would be hard for any referee of any caliber to come in and have control of four gentlemen just like this, especially these four gentlemen, with what they bring and the intensity that they bring to the ring. So, like, I understand how Joe sometimes got out of position or just hard for him to control that chaos. Man, it's hard for one guy to control four guys. So, like, take nothing away from him. That being said, you were right, man. You hit the nail on the head. Victor Jones had that match won. He was able to pin shoulders down for more than 3 seconds. It's just, it's a part of the game, man. Sometimes referees are out of position. Sometimes just things just don't go your way. A lot of guys when or a lot of pro athletes, when things don't go their way, what they do, they dust off their boots, they get back in there and they keep on going. This was just a little bit too much for Vic to handle. Which I've seen it, man. I've seen the ticking time bomb, happening over months. I see the frustration shit sitting in. I think it just finally blew off, and the powder keg erupted. And I think, Vic Jones just, he just couldn't handle it no more. As for what you said, yeah, he did lay his hands on me. There will be repercussion of that. He has been fined for that, and we will see him again. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I've been in his shoes before when things haven't gone my way. But you're given two choices. You're gonna keep on keeping on, or you're gonna go in the direction that he did. And who knows? Who knows where this is gonna lead him down? Who knows if this intensity will help him or this will hurt him? But time will tell. All I know is I know the outlaw Bo Ross is not going to sit back. He's not going to just take a chair shot to the back. He's gonna be seeking revenge for the Cake Boss. But yeah, I mean, if we want to pivot over to the other two guys, Ranchan and Jamie Hall. I mean, we've said it on this podcast before, John. Jamie Hall he's amazing. I mean, he gets up there and for everything that he talks the talk, he walks the walk with everything he says. And yeah, his shoulders have not been pinned since debuting here in WDWA. If there was anybody that could do it, I mean, I really thought Ranchan could do it, and now that it'll be a little bit more even odds. I'm looking forward for Ranchan and Jamie Hall to go one-on-one and actually see, can Ranchan stop that undefeated streak, or can Jamie Hall stop the Mid-Atlantic streak? I mean, either way, I think the fans are in for a treat.
Yeah, definitely, and I can't wait to see it. But then, from there we went into some women's action where we saw Lady Glory, and she was taking on Tiffany Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah, Tiffany Avatar, stepped in last minute. I mean, this was supposed to be Lady Glory versus Liberty L. Liberty L snowed in, up where she lived. She wasn't able to make the ride, and last minute call, Tiffany Avatar, jumped on it right away and she came in. So it's a little bit, as an athlete, you want to be prepared for your matches, but sometimes when you're told last minute, you don't know what to expect. And I think, Lady Glory has spent, weeks now preparing for Liberty L, and she was not prepared for Tiffany Avatar, and that showed, John.
Yeah, definitely. And, this is only the second time we've seen Lady Glory in a match in the WDWA. Although I guess three if you include the Rumble. But she is fairly new to WDWA, but watching what she's been doing, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But she just things just didn't go her way this time.
I see our light heavyweight champion Chulo Montana's in the chat. Wants to know if either of those ladies are looking for a real man. So any ladies out there or any ladies in the match that are looking for what he calls a real man, Chulo Montana's, he's taking applications right now. Yeah, but before we go any further, man, Lady Gloria was very, very impressive when she went up against Jade Onyx at the All May She Reign show. I mean, very impressive. Man, when I saw her bend back, Jade Onyx's arm, I thought she was wrapping it around her, man. She had that thing bent back to where I couldn't even look at it. It was bent back. Like, I really thought she snapped her arm, but so I don't blame, Jade Onyx one bit for tapping out, but it was just impressive, because I've always, all my interactions with her have been on the outside of the ring with Young Crown Kings. She's kind of been a thorn in a lot of people's side. But, to actually see her get in the ring and see like, man, like she's more than just, that annoying, fly that's buzzing in your ear. Like, she's able to get in there and go. I mean, that's huge for the women division. And again, Tiffany Avatar, always impressive every time she comes. Somebody put in the chat, about her interaction with the kids and things like that. I do want to give that a big shout out. She takes the time for everybody there that wants time with her. I mean, it doesn't matter if she's there all night long. She had a long drive back home and she's still there, meeting and greeting with fans, making sure everybody gets the opportunities. What a wonderful person and a wonderful talent. We're happy to have her here at WDWA.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we went into some 6-man tag action, where we saw the Freak Show tagging with Thunder Road and Mason Drake. Now, this is Mason Drake's first official match with WDWA, and there was a lot of back and forth between Mason and Thunder Road as to who was going to be the dominant one and who needed to watch who, and a lot of blind tags between the team themselves, and just not a whole lot of cohesion there between those three. But nonetheless, Mason Drake, he was quite impressive, I thought. He did a real good job, but just not quite getting a victory on that.
Yeah, and really, I think that's what what do they say? The camel, the hump that broke the camel that broke whatever they say, whatever that part is,
the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, the straw that broke the camel's back, is they just couldn't get on the same page. Like I had high hopes for those three guys. Very talented. I thought they would be a good pairing. A little bit of backstory on Mason Drake and how he got to WDWA is, John, as you know, we were out doing a birthday party. WDWA did a birthday party about 2 hours away from our headquarters. Tremendous night, great birthday party. I mean, they had what, John, what do you say? Close to 100 people there.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And all those shows, they don't, wrestlers do those shows to to get seen by WDWA or get seen by local fans or things like that. There's not a lot of money in it. It's just opportunity, and Mason Drake took that opportunity to drive probably close to 4.5 hours all the way out there. And I was very impressed with what I saw when we saw him at that birthday party. And, I saw his aggression out there and what he brought, to the ring, to his style that he brings to the ring. And I wanted to bring that to WDWA, so when I saw a spot on the 6-man to join Thunder Road, I thought Mason Drake right away. I was unaware that these guys weren't going to get along. I mean, I know that Thunder Road can be pricks, man, and, irritating at time. Very talented guys, but, sometimes they just don't carry themselves the right way in the ring. So I don't blame, Mason for bumping heads with them. But I think if you could separate them, both of them are equally as good. Thunder Road's great and Mason Drake's great. But, man, I freaking love the Freak Show. I mean, I love it. Every time they're there, nonstop. By the time their music hits to the time they get back to the curtain, it's just they're such a pleasure to watch. You never know what they're gonna do. They are so uncanny and so crazy with what they bring to the table. It just makes them different from everybody else. I don't think anybody is able to train or or even go back and watch tape to prepare for them. They are just oddballs, man, like real oddities, and I love it. I love it because it's something new every single time, man. So hats off to those guys. But yeah, the freak show with the victory over Thunder Road and Mason Drake.
Yeah, and as we've seen right here on Elevation, once you get man child going, you can't get the man to shut up. He's just so talkative, I tell you.
Yeah.
But so then we saw after that, we saw CEO versus Wraith. Now, as I said earlier, you saw CEO come out and jump in the ring and help out Axel Crow. So there was already a little tension there with that, but um, these two got in the ring with each other, and it just continued on, and then you actually ended up seeing CEO come out with the victory on this.
Yeah, so just like you said, CEO came out to help out Axel when it was time, and Axel came out and returned the favor for CEO, and made what easily could have been 3-on-1, a 1-on-1 match, and obviously CEO, as hardworking as he is, took that opportunity to put a nail right into Wraith's coffin and get the 1-2-3, but post match is what was crazy to me, John. That great match. Hats off to both participants. But post match, man, CEO said it himself. He can't move on in 2026 until he handles 2025 business. And everybody that's been watching the product knows like there's a huge history between CEO and JTR, and he's gone back and forth with him, for probably going on 2 years now. Whether he was with them or whether he was against them, and it just hasn't come to a head yet, John. So CEO, he put out the challenge. He knows that, in a perfect world, he would love to have JTR 1-on-1, but he's been there. He's been a part of the group. He knows JTR's always got an ace up his sleeve. So let's go ahead and rip that band-aid off, right away. And he's like, you know what, JTR, why don't you go ahead? You could pick anybody you want to be your partner. Like, I don't care, man. Why don't we do that? That way you have no excuses. And he put out the stipulation that if anybody interferes on JTR's behalf, if anybody interferes in his match, that JTR is no longer employed at WDWA. And then the repercussion and then the alternative to that is like if CEO is beaten, if his team is pinned, CEO will never wrestle again in WDWA. So JTR looked like he was all about it, and then it went on to, man, like, okay, we know the stipulation, we know what's going on. The only thing we don't know is who your partner is going to be, CEO. And John, like, I would have never guessed. I would have never put my money down and bet on who CEO picked to be his partner, man. What about you?
No, not at all. To see the president of South Berkeley Fire Hall, Steve, step up as CEO's partner, that just, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. I mean, and you've been seeing all this back and forth between CEO and Steve, so I just, I didn't think he would actually step in the ring, though. Not that I thought Steve was scared by any means,
Oh,
but
no.
I just didn't see him stepping in the ring. And so now to actually see him step up and say that he will be CEO's partner, that was definitely something. And I'm definitely looking forwards to seeing that match when it takes place, and it's going to be something to watch.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Anybody that knows the president of the fire hall, Steve Sowers, in that area. I mean, he's very well known. I mean, this guy, for he used to be a warden at a prison. He's worked in police stations. He's president of the fire hall. He's I mean, gosh, John, like you're from that area, man. Like everybody knows Steve. You know, everybody knows him. So we're looking forward to having that. I'm sure we're gonna have a packed house. Everybody's gonna want to come see Steve Sowers with his wrestling debut. Hopefully shut JTR up once and for all. But yeah, looking forward to that, John. What do we got next there?
You know, after that, we went into match that saw Zakar Shaw versus Just Jay, and of course, Lady Glory was ringside there, and you know, so that was another hard hitting, interesting match between those two. But you saw Just Jay making sure he went to work on the leg of Zakar Shaw, the ankle and the knee. And, we pointed out that it was the same ankle that was broken on Clay Jacobs that they were working on Zakar Shaw. And, unfortunately, Zakar did not come out victorious on that. But there was a lot of heart. There was a lot of fight. Zakar was bound and determined he wasn't going to give up. And, he fought to the bitter end to try to win that thing, but just couldn't overcome the odds on that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's professional wrestling, right? Like it's not ballet. Like you're in there to fight, you're in there to beat your opponent. I give it all the credit in the world to Just Jay. I mean, this was a good game plan. Him and Lady Glory set this up. They dissected Zakar down, and they were able to do what they had to do to be victorious. Like, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's the best way to go about it, but very, very smart. Very, very smart to get in there with that angle. And obviously, with as good as Zakar is, I mean, former heavyweight champion, like, his accolades go on and on. Like, their game plan was that good to shut him down, which was great. I mean, it's very, very smart. And, but again, John, I think it's just gas on a fire, man. It's a ticking time bomb. Nowhere near done with this interaction. I can't wait to see where it goes from here. But that's 1 point for team Uncrowned Kings, man. Not taking anything away from them.
Yeah, and you definitely know that, when I'm sure he probably already has by now, but when Clay got wind of what happened to Zakar, I'm sure he was not any too happy about it. And I'm sure he's going to come back looking for retribution for his tag team partner, you know, after the way they staged that whole attack prior to the bell ringing. A lot of people kept saying, "Oh, I heard people yelling, get her out of the ring! Come on, you can disqualify him." No, they couldn't because the bell hadn't rung.
Yeah.
And I made sure that on commentary we made mention of that, the fact that the bell hadn't rung, the match wasn't official, so they couldn't do anything about the fact Lady Glory was attacking him, and you know Zakar could have very simply said, "You know what? They've already attacked me. They've hurt my leg. I can't go." But that's not who Zakar is. That's not what Zakar is about. And Zakar, even on the hurt leg, you know, he said, "No, I'm going. Let's do this." And it's just to watch them fight it out to the bitter end like that, showed a lot of heart on Zakar, and I'm sure Clay is going to be looking for retribution, especially if Zakar can't compete for a while because of an injury to his leg after this.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We got to move on to that main event, John.
Yeah, so that main event for the night, you know, we saw Mr. Grimm, and he took on Austin Kingsley. You know, here Mr. Grimm has what, 5 titles?
I think he said 4.
Yeah, 4 or 5, something like that. And Austin came out, and Austin made mention that we haven't seen a lot of DeMarcus, and so he hasn't been able to cash in, and that he's been looking to cash in that trophy on a champion. He wants a championship. Now, don't mistake things. He did not cash in
He did
that
not.
cup, but he did issue the challenge to Grimm to put his titles on the line, and Grimm put every one of his titles on the line. But things just did not go Austin Kingsley's way. Um, at one point, we even saw JTR try to get involved with the brass knucks, and thanks to Steve, the brass knucks went flying, and security got knocked into the wall, and things got crazy between those two. And Mr. Grimm was able to come out victorious by putting down Austin Kingsley and winning this thing and retaining all of his titles. So,
Yeah.
not a good night for Austin overall.
Not a good night for Austin overall. I mean, first of all, let me reiterate what you said so everybody understands. It was not an official cash in. He was making a statement. I know some people were questioning whether or not he cashed in on him. He did not. He was saying, like, it's hard for me to cash in when there's never anybody here to cash in on, is what he was saying. And then he went on to say, his match with Grimm. Grimm has all these titles, and he's not even put one on the line. He's put his other titles on the line every other time he's been there, but for some reason he had 0 titles on the line. And Grimm came out then and was like, you know what, man, like, you're not good enough to be heavyweight champion for any company, for anywhere. You know what? Just to prove that, I'll gamble and I'll put all 4 of my titles on the line because I know you can't beat me. And with JTR on the JTR outside, and with trying to use brass knuckles and all that stuff, like, Austin just didn't have what it took to beat Grimm. I mean, if anybody's ever been in the ring with Grimm, or if anybody's even been on the outside watching Grimm, man, he is one tough SOB who hits hard, man. So he hits you in the gut. I mean, it rattles your bladder, buddy. Like, uh, you know, great match, great main event. Again, Austin still has that trophy. Who knows what's going on? He's only got a couple more months to cash it in. Hopefully, he's got something up his sleeve. But the end all be all to this match is Grimm won. And then I felt like it was necessary, to go up to Grimm after the match in front of everybody and let Grimm know that, I've been impressed with him here in WDWA. And I know he's busy. I know it's hard to get him booked because he's all over the world, wrestling everywhere. But the next time he's at WDWA, which I don't know when that is yet, no matter who the heavyweight champion is at that time, he will have a heavyweight title shot. I mean, he's earned it. He's undefeated here in WDWA, and I like to give credit where credit is due. But yeah, John, another great show. Chill factor in the books. I'm looking forward to the upcoming show. But before we get forward, John, if anybody had missed any of that action, if any of you guys missed any of All May She Reign, I know we were on the right, tail end of that, the previous elevation. But if you guys missed any of that action, please, check us out on our YouTube show. John, I think is getting ready to play the commercial here.
Well,
Frontline.
I'm having a little problem here. I can't get to the thing for some reason.
It's all right. I'll get to the thing, John. Let me get to the thing. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed all of the action, see us here on Frontline. It's not on there. Oh, it's not on there. All right, John. That was the info for Frontline. I know it's a little weird. It's wrestling. We got to call an audible, but with the podcast streaming that we're using, they've gone on a lot of updates, and a lot of things have been deleted and moved around. That's why John's having issues on his end, and we're having issues as well. But you know what we do? We just roll with the punches. Everything happens for a reason. But yeah, check us out every Thursday on Frontline. You can find us at Wild Patriot. Yeah, I'll put that right back up. YouTube.com Wild Patriot 22. It has all of our action. Our man Juan over there doing all the editing, putting on a show. Looks like John's frozen. I don't know if that's just on my screen or not. Either that or he's just fucking with me. But yeah, give us a follow over there. John might getting some messages here. Hold on. Looks like John's having some issues. All right. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to wing this puppy all on my own. We're going to run solo here. So I don't know what's going on at Wrestle Talk Podcast. Usually that's my man, John. But we do have a video for Wrestle Talk Podcast. All right, Johnny, you back? Nope. All right. So, not sure what's going on over there at Wrestle Talk Podcast, but I do want to do my boy a solid. That's what he does over there, him and Renee and the rest of the group. They usually run the alternate Tuesday. So, a week from today, there'll be Wrestle Talk Podcast. They always bring on great guests and give you a bunch of information. They follow a lot of the mainstream wrestling as well. So I'm sure they're going to, be talking about the upcoming Royal Rumble, things like that. So please give them a follow and a share, and just tune in. They always seem to bring out the greats. So John's having some difficulties. I'm going to run this. I'm going to call it in the ring right now. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and bring on the number one contender for the WDWA Women's Championship. Give it up in the chats. I want to hear you guys show some love for Miss Scarlett Meidan.
Hello.
Hey, Scarlett. You frozen?
I'm not
All
frozen.
right.
I'm freezing. I'm not frozen. It is very cold. It's very cold over here. But yeah.
So I know you're up from New York. Or is that where you're at now, or where are you at?
No, I'm actually in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah. I decided to go where it's colder for some reason.
How much snow did they get up there?
A lot. Actually, like the drive up here was fine. There was no snow, but it is like 14 degrees right now up here.
Yeah. Not a fan of the cold.
Not fun.
It'll cut you. Yeah, are you wrestling this weekend? You got any shows coming up?
This weekend, no. This weekend's kind of chill, but I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready for the weekend after. That is,
looking forward to it.
We're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'll touch base on that real quick. But one thing, Scarlett, as I like to do when I bring guests on is I like to get to know them a little bit more. Like, I like to hear sort of their background, where they trained, how they broke in. I think it's important for people to know everybody's journey. Know that it's not easy to, just put on some wrestling tights or a referee shirt or anything and just jump in the ring. That it takes a lot of effort. That being said, Scarlett, like, how did you break in? Like, were you a fan of wrestling, as a kid?
As a kid, wrestling was everything. I had hundreds of action figures. I had, like posters of legends on my wall, and it's just, it was such a big part of who I was. And then I was very, a very athletic kid growing up. I did a lot of sports, and then I had a knee injury that kind of took sports away from me for a while. And then, as a teenager, I kind of just naturally, I guess, stepped away from watching wrestling and doing all that. I was doing a lot of music, and then when I was 21 ish, 2021, I started watching WWE again. It was right around when the first Evolution PLE happened. And I was like, interesting. I was like, okay, women, the female wrestlers look different from how they looked when I was watching growing up. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. I can roll with this. And I went to the living room, and I told my mom and dad, I'm like, I think I want to be a professional wrestler. And then my dad laughed, and then my mom laughed, and she was like, wait, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I started doing MMA. I did MMA for about a year. Did like a regional competition. Won that one, and then I was looking for a wrestling school in the States. I was just like, okay, where am I going to go? And I found House of Glory in New York. Reached out to them, went over there, stayed in my uncle's basement for like 2.5 months, and all I did was just go to the gym. Oh, stop, Eddie. I went to the gym. I went to Hog. I went to just, wrestling became my whole life in those 2.5 months. And then I was, I found a way to move everything to New York. And and then I just went all in on that. And that was almost 6.5 years ago.
Oh, nice.
So,
that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know you were wrestling that long. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how long it's been, and at this point, it feels like something that I've just always done, and it's such a big part of who I was growing up. And I found afterwards, after I moved and stuff, and I went to my parents' place, I found this. It was like a school project or something where it was like, where do you see yourself growing up? And it literally said WWE Diva.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm like, I didn't even remember writing that, but
yeah,
I guess it's meant to be.
Yeah, like I have this conversation with people all the time, and they're like, and I try to explain to them, like, you either get pro wrestling or you don't. Like, it's okay that you don't, but like the people that get it, we freaking love it. Like it's the most beautiful thing in the world, and I love hearing stories like that where it's like a childhood dream, and whether you're making it to WWE or whether you're making it big on the indie circuit, like to me it's both incredible feeling, like there's no drug like it. I want to rewind a little bit, based off some of the stuff that you said. So big fan as a kid. Like, who are some of your favorites?
We'll put it in the male and female. Favorite male wrestler, Randy Orton.
Nice.
He's just different level. It's everything he does. He makes everything look so effortless, and I just love it.
Yeah. Everything. I mean, every little thing he does, from a stare to a couple steps, is all meaningful.
Yeah.
Great pick.
And Shawn Michaels. Oh shit.
So is Shawn
Look who's
Michaels?
back.
You
It's
said
not Shawn
male and
Michaels, but
female.
it's Arthur
You said
Ross.
male and female. So is Shawn Michaels the female?
No,
I'm
I
just kidding.
was giving you a top three. I was giving you a
I'm just
top
kidding. I'm
three.
just kidding. Yeah, go for it.
I mean, with the hair. So probably top three males is Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. I think those three were just such huge part, of me watching wrestling, and I just love how they are with fans and just their interaction and all that stuff. And then with the female side, we got China, we got Charlotte Flair. I think she's just an incredible athlete.
Yeah, I agree.
And then this might be a controversial one. Alexa Bliss. I don't
think it's controversial at all. I think she's great.
When I went back to watching, WWE after like a really long time, and she was one of the main faces during that time. I think she was champion actually during that time, or I don't know. Something was like shit. Like that was like I don't know. She was just so cool. And so she's at least from that era of like me watching again, it's
Yeah, I want to say like when she won her first women's championship and she was kind of like top of the card. This is before like Fiend stuff. I mean, I thought she had it. She had it all. I put her right up there with Charlotte when it comes to ability and being able to like captivate whatever word I'm looking at, captivate the audience. I think she's gone a little downhill since then, but like I definitely understand why you picked her. Yeah, all six of them, great picks. It's always funny because like I can also know people's age based off the wrestlers that they pick. I'm always the old man in the group, so like you guys just all make me feel young or feel old. But yeah, no, that's awesome, and it's good that I could tell like you bring a lot of that charisma that a lot of those people that you enjoyed watching or you followed or loved. I could tell like a lot of that charisma like falls with you because I honestly I just had this conversation with my wife. Like you bring so much charisma to the ring, which I think is phenomenal. I think it definitely sets you apart, and it just seems so natural, and I think it's your just personality. It's just great to be around you, so that's super awesome. The other question I wanted to ask from what you brought up is you said you did music for a while. You want to talk a little bit about that? Were you in a band?
I was a drummer. For about, I want to say 11 years ish.
Wow.
And I just, that was what I was. And I also did a lot of videography and photography
So cool.
during the later years though. But yeah, that was like music was my life. One of my best friends, she's actually the one who she wrote the entrance music that I use.
Yeah.
It's her song, and she I did everything with her. Like we went on shows together. I helped her set up. I helped her break down. Kind of like when we break down and build the ring, and just do music videos for her and live videos for her. So I was very involved in that whole world, and so that was pretty big part of like my teens. Just music and going to concerts and all that stuff.
So since we did it with wrestling, what are your top 3 bands?
Oh, shit. Knew you were gonna say that.
Set me up. I had to take it.
I know. Bands. Okay. We're gonna have to go Simple Plan.
All right.
Bowling for Soup.
All right.
And Bon Jovi.
Nice. Bon Jovi's a little different than the other 2, but nice.
I know. But I had to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, John, are you alive over there? You were frozen. I didn't know if it was the snow or just internet connection or what's going on over there.
I don't know what happened with my computer. I had to switch devices real quick, and but I made it back in here, so I'm here.
Yeah, we're glad you're back, John. We were worried about you. We were about to put your face on a milk carton, buddy. Yeah, but we're just, John, we're catching you up a little bit, with what we're talking with Scarlett. She told us how she broke in to the business. She's been wrestling for about 6 years. Former drummer. She went on to say how she was a big fan of wrestling as a little girl. There was a lot of performers that she liked. She had a lot of figures, things like that. Which to me, like, I love it. I love the whole package. I love what, your story. I can't, there's not many people that are just genuine. And I mean that with what I said earlier, just about, just the presence of being around you, like your personality, everything. I mean, even like the backstory, it just all comes so genuine, and like, it definitely, like, helps mold the person that you are. And like, it's just fun to be around. One of the fans wanted to ask, since you are, a Rumble winner, who do you have for this weekend's pick?
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. It's funny. We have one of my really good friends, Franco Costanzo, who is my manager in some of the promotions that I work with. He runs every year. He does random, basically betting thing. So it's you pay like $10, $20, and then he gives a random number, and whoever enters in that number, if he wins, you get the pool. It's kind of like a 50-50.
I like that.
And I always get the weirdest people. I think the year when Speed went instead of Tozawa, that was my number. So my entrant was goodness. So I watch Raw because it's on Netflix. Unfortunately, I don't watch SmackDown, so I'm not quite sure about who is or isn't going to be on it, but I'll just, I think I do like Braun Breaker. Is this controversial? Is this like a not fan favorite? I really like him right now. He's awesome. I like where he's going right now, and I think giving him a WrestleMania moment is definitely going to be interesting and fun to watch. With the women's Rumble, oh goodness.
They're all watching this, so
I know they're all watching. I'm sorry, girls.
When you get to WWE, they're gonna say, "Man, I saw you on that podcast.
I saw you didn't say my name. Ooh, Jesus Christ! I almost died on live TV. I'll say Alexa. You know what? I'll say my girl Alexa. I don't know if she's gonna be in it or not, but she made a comeback, and I want to see her with a title. With a single title.
It's good picks. Yeah, Royal Rumble always my favorite. Hopefully I'm able to watch it. Don't have ESPN yet. Might, get the subscription for 1 month and get rid of it, but I don't know. We'll see. Matt Pinks in the chat wants to know, what is your coolest experience you've ever had in the ring?
Ooh. So I have one that was actually at WDWA. I think when I won the Rumble and Tiffany came out, just standing in the ring and just like, I don't know if it was for the first time, but like I think it was the most meaningful moment where the amazing crowd, you know, in your shows was just like chanting my name. I don't think I think in that moment I was very present mentally. And when that happened, I was like, oh, okay. Like we got something right now. And I think that was like a really, really, really special moment for me personally. Oh, thanks, Matt. That for sure is like, I think mentally, and if we're talking wrestling or anything like that, you know, like moves or moments like that, it's back in goodness, probably years ago, but I was at Hog and I got choke slammed and just folded in half, you know, by the choke slam. It was just, and it's honestly, I'm not even ashamed of it, and it's one of my pinned Instagram posts, and it has 750,000 views, and it's honestly like just hysterical because I just literally just call it the one. I just went boop.
Who did the choke slam?
Yeah, and
who gave you the choke slam?
Who gave me the choke? Carlos La Sombra Ramirez, and nice. He is
shout out to Carlos.
Yeah, shout out to Carlos. We got to run him back. I got to choke slam him, even though he's like 2 feet taller than me, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. So that was probably a really meaningful moment.
Very cool. Well. Yeah, I'm sure it's I'm sure it's 2 of many that you're gonna have. You know, when you sign that contract, that'll probably that'd be great. No, John, you got anything for Scarlett before we start talking about WDWA?
I think most of what I have is WDWA related, you know.
All right, fire away.
So, I mean, obviously you won the Rumble. You are the #1 contender. So right off the bat, what's it going to take to get that title?
Honestly, let's just say this. I'm willing to put everything on the line. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, I had to play it very, very smart after a 4 versus 4, you know, to keep the energy, and after a really tough battle, you know, with amazing talent, and I had to be in the ring with, I don't want to say 30 because at the point when I went in, it was less than that, but you know, it was at least like half of those girls, and you know, I had to play it smart, I had to play it safe. But when it comes to Tiffany Grady, there's no playing it safe. You just have to fight till you can't fight anymore, and that's, you know, the plan is to get that title away from her, and yeah, and give it some justice, because I don't think she's, you know, I've been watching her and I don't think she's playing clean. And I think the women's division in WDWA deserves a champion that's fighting clean, you know, and giving all of them chances. And yeah.
So with that being said, I mean, so one of the biggest, you know, wrenches, I guess you could say, that are thrown into matches is Mr. Jason Curtis on the outside. Like, how do you plan on, you know, doing everything that you're saying you're doing? How do you plan on beating her? How do you plan on strategizing on when you have this whole other entity on the outside?
I've been training and fighting and wrestling with men from the moment I started doing this. And
I don't think his choke slams are as good though, so you're good.
Yeah, exactly. So we need you know, if he's a problem, I'm just gonna make him not be like this. Like, if he's gonna be the first thing I gotta take care of before I get in the ring and take care of Tiffany, then that's what it's gonna be. If we got to turn it into a no DQ, so she can't win, like that, that's what we're gonna do. If we're gonna have to, if they're gonna play dirty, I can play dirtier. I have a lot of people on speed dial that I can also have on my, on my sidelines, and I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared of her ring announcer. I know she has one special for her, and at the end of the day, the job's got to get done, and the job is to get the title away from her, and that's what I'm planning on doing.
Yeah, because that's definitely one thing you got to keep in mind is when you get in the ring with her, it's not just a one-on-one match. It's a 3-on-1 match, really. And, I brought that up last time that, when you fight her, it's like 3-on-1. Now I was told her ring announcer ain't nothing to worry about. She's too scared to get involved. And what did we see? We saw her get involved because everybody just completely overlooked her ring announcer. So you really gotta have eyes in the back of your head when you're fighting her because it really is a 3-on-1.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not saying that, I'm not disregarding them. I'm saying they're gonna be there, and I'm gonna be ready for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. But one thing before this match happens, which definitely I wouldn't hold lightly, is you will be back in action here at WDWA on February 7th at All's Fair in Love and War against somebody that you teamed up with, Rebecca Blade, who I'm very I think she's freaking great. I think she hasn't reached her potential. I think she's young and she's hungry. And when I see her in that ring, she's like a freaking pit bull. I think it's going to be hard for anybody to prepare for, just somebody that's a savage like that. Like, what are you doing since you know her, since you've teamed with her? What can we expect? I mean, do you feel like you're ready for her?
I'm, a saying that the Amazing Red always tells us when we train with him: if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I stay ready for every match, for anything that's thrown at me. I think I underestimated her in the last match. I thought after teaming up with her a few months back, she's gonna maybe go easy or maybe not, not play dirty. And she decided to play dirty, and she decided to blindside me, and that's not gonna happen again. I do love her, and I respect her, and I know she's working hard, and I definitely see all of the things that you said you see in her. She's incredible. She has a lot of potential, and I told her that. And I'm gonna take this one-on-one with her as like a moment for us to set things straight. I definitely, I don't want what happened in the 4 versus 4, to affect our friendship and to affect the future that we can definitely have together. And she's she definitely got all the potential to be incredible, and I want to give her the opportunity to show that to the WDWA crowd, and to show it to me. I don't think she needs to prove herself to anyone, but I want to. I think we deserve this match, and I think we deserve to settle this once and for all. Kind of put that behind us, and maybe do great things together. And maybe she'll be on my side against Tiffany Grady.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. I mean, from an outsider looking in, I mean, I don't know everybody personally. I know them on a professional level, and it just seems like, you both came in the WDWA on the, same track. You guys came in same day. And then just since then, you've had this acceleration in your career, and she's kind of where it's at. So I think a little bit of bitterness is there. I'm worried for you because I know, like I told you earlier, she's a little bit of a pit bull. The stage is set though for February 7th. I'm happy to see it. I just, hopefully, win, lose, or draw, you still have your number one contender, championship. Just it depends on what happens with this, Rebecca Blade match, whether or not you're going to be 100% or not. And I mean, there's no promise there. I mean, like I said, she's badass. I wish you nothing but luck with that.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, she's here. Hello. Yeah. We'll say nice things. February 7th. Don't worry.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Tiny jabs, John.
So do you see it as an advantage or a disadvantage, the fact that you two know each other so well?
both. It's an advantage because I know what she doesn't know, and it's a disadvantage because she knows what I know. If I have to pull some tricks that she doesn't know about, and switch things up a bit, I don't want to Christmas wish knockout Lady Glory. She's not even part of this match yet. Maybe. I mean, Gavin, book it.
Hey, I like to give people what they want.
There you go. Yeah. As much as I want to get the title away from Tiffany, I think me and Rebecca need to figure this out. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna probably have to do some things that the WDWA crowd has not seen yet. When it comes to my in-ring ability, I had to, like I said earlier, play it safe in the Rumble, play it safe in the 4v4. But yeah. So here's my promise to you. It's going to be different.
Well, I can't wait. Scarlett, I appreciate, you taking the time out of your busy night to be here. I know it's, it's during the middle of the week. I know like I could see you're in a hotel, you're up in New Hampshire, I know you got a lot of personal things, going on in your life, and for you to take the time to spend it with us here on Elevation, we really appreciate that. Super proud of you. I love watching, and even though it hasn't been as long as most, just your journey here at WDWA, I mean, months ago, we had some fans booing you, and, we had a terrible incident in the ring where your opponent took a bad injury, and it's amazing how life happens, and then following that, for some reason, usually like an injury doesn't do this, especially, with an opponent, but like, man, like the fans just loved you so much, that, they pulled you towards them. A lot of pro wrestlers, they get in the ring and they want you to cheer them. They want you to be like, oh, show me love. And they're pulling the wrestler or the fans to them, like, hey, love me, love me, love me. And your story is completely different, right? Like you went in the ring and you didn't ask for it. You didn't ask to be loved. You didn't ask for anything. All you want to go in there and just be the best competitor that you can be. And it's so awesome because it's good for me because like I can sit back and I can watch everything at like a broad view, and the fans, were saying like, hey, Scarlett, come to us, and they've showed you nothing but love, and it's just amazing to watch. Again, we talked about it at the beginning when you came on, like pro wrestling just being so beautiful, such a beautiful event, or beautiful art, and it's feelings that you get, that are, there's no drug like it, but yeah, it's just an awesome thing. It's an awesome thing to see your growth here in WDWA as well as just the pro wrestling world. Yeah, it was good to hear some of your backstory and what brought you to WDWA and what you continue to drive on. And, I see nothing but, a bright future ahead of you. Like I said earlier, you have a great personality. You're a great person before the wrestling. And, you add pro wrestling on top of that and all the work you're putting in. Like you said, you're training with Amazing Red. You train with a bunch of other people up around your way. It's just you love it enough to put the work in, and it's loving you in return. I can see that. So again, Scarlett, thank you so much, for taking the time with us here on Elevation. John, do you have anything else before we let Scarlett go?
Oh, just like you said, thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking with us, and best of luck in the upcoming matches that you have, and just can't wait to see it.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I do it for the fans. I get in the ring and I put my body on the line for the fans. Like, it's not, I try to not do it from a selfish, point. It's really just to entertain and to make memories for people who love wrestling just as much as I do.
So awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Scarlett. We'll see you not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, February 7th, you versus Rebecca Blade. Can't wait.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Scarlett.
Thanks so much.
Bye. Super cool, John. Always a pleasure to, watch people's growth, whether it be WDWA or anywhere else, and just to have, somebody of her caliber here on WDWA, man, elevates the show. Just always makes it a better place whenever we have guests just like Scarlett. So super cool. But yeah, John, I know we lost you there for a little bit. I know you were having some issues. We talked about Wrestle Talk podcast a little bit, but since you're the expert on it, obviously I didn't have all the information. Is there any upcoming guests or anything you'd like to put over on Wrestle Talk podcast?
I honestly don't have the guest name in front of me right this moment, simply because it's on my phone that I'm using for at the moment. Otherwise, I would have had the name. But, I know that we do have a guest lined up, and, just really, we always try to get some of the best guests around. And I know that this week, or next Tuesday, it will be Joe Lance and Ace. The two of them will be on the show as the hosts, and definitely look forwards to another great episode they've got coming up. So just be sure to keep your eyes tuned to Wrestle Talk podcast page, and I'm sure we'll be making the announcement as to who that is in the guest spot here very soon. So definitely looking forward to another great episode.
Yeah, definitely follow Wrestle Talk podcast on all social media platforms. Check and see what's going on. They always have great shows, great guests, very informative when, about the pro wrestling world and what's going on. Definitely you want to check them out. Give them a follow on YouTube, and, share the links. Let's try to get the word out there. Let's build up what we all love, which is the world of professional wrestling. John, we always talk about on this show, the FWWC, buddy. We both know a handful of people that, since linking up for this elevation, that have jumped into FWWC. You want to tell everybody a little bit about FWWC, what it's about, what you're doing over there, things that are going on?
The FWWC, I'll go over it here real quick for you. It is a fantasy. It's called Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter. We are a fantasy wrestling group.
Good job, John. Susie won't get on you for that one.
And basically what we do is we go into a room. We use mostly WWE. We'll take the matches that are going on there, and you'll make picks. And if you get your pick right, you get a point. We actually do promos and stuff, and we make our own characters, and we do the promos to build up our matches. And then during our matches, we actually do role play. And all this takes place on Facebook. And so, it's really an outlet for those who can't step in the ring for one reason or another. But one thing about the fantasy wrestling is we do tend to become a family. Um, and honestly, right now, last Friday night we had a challenge. Um, Not really going to go into the challenge much, but there was supposed to be a challenge this coming Saturday. Unfortunately, we have canceled our challenge this Saturday because last Saturday the FWWC did suffer a loss of one of our members. Um, her character was Yoko Kitsune, and she actually passed away Saturday night. So our thoughts and prayers go out to her and her family. So we've kind of put the challenge on hold for now, just in her thoughts and her memory, and we will get back into action, though soon, but just right now is just a very somber moment in FWWC.
I'm sure. Well, my condolences for all you guys. I did see that that message that that she passed away, and I never got to meet her. I don't know anything about her, but I do know just based off of posts that I've seen and pictures that have been shared that she was a big part of the FWC, and also that she was well loved. So, like you said, my condolences to her and her family. And same thing for you and everybody else over there at the FWWC. So yeah, we have a show coming up, John, February 7th. It's called All's Fair in Love and War. It's going to be right back at the South Berkeley Fire Hall in Inwood, West Virginia. Can't wait for that show. It's going to be another action-packed show. There you see the graphic on the screen right now. First row is already sold out. We have a decent amount of general admission already sold. Please, if you're going to attend the show, and you want to reserve a spot, please reach out. We can get a seat reserved for you. If not, you're more than welcome to pay at the door. Doors open up 5:30 p.m. Bell time 6:15 p.m. It's one of my favorite events of the year. It always seems to the card always seems to be elevated for this show. I don't know why it works that way, but every time we get around, it's just always a hell of a show. And one of the coolest things about the show is it will feature current NWA star Alex Taylor, which is freaking awesome. Anybody that has had a chance to see this guy in the ring knows how phenomenal he is. Definitely one of the best performers there on the NWA card and the NWA roster. Just can't wait to see him in action here at WDWA. Definitely bringing WDWA up to a whole nother level, having him on the card. So you'll know who he'll be facing very soon. We'll put that out on social media. John, we already talked about this big match. Scarlett Meidan, number one contender for the women's championship title, should be going up against Rebecca Blade, who again, badass. Both of these ladies just badass. I think this match can go either way, but I just see it, getting very personal and hard hitting real fast. John, what about you, man?
Yeah, definitely. And I say the way that both of these ladies know each other so well, it's definitely going to be something to watch when those two go at it, and see what they can pull out to actually surprise the other one, because it's going to take something of that nature, of a surprise, in order to pull out the victory, I believe, because they know each other that well. So
Yeah, win, lose, or draw, the fans come out the winner in that match. I can't wait to see it. And just announced today, John, on social media, light heavyweight championship will be on the line. This will be Chulo Montana's first defense since winning the championship, and he's going up against TJ Price. Very, very impressive young kid right there, and TJ Price. Looking forward to having him here back in WDWA. What do you think of this match, John?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be another hard-hitting match. From what I've seen of TJ, he's very energetic, and he's just going to be a force to be reckoned with. But Chulo just getting his hands on that title, he's going to do whatever it takes to retain that title, I'm sure. And so it's going to be tough to see Chulo lose that title. I don't know. I don't know if he'll actually lose it or not at the next show, just because of how tough it's going to be to pry it out of his hands.
Josh Petticourt said the Love Machine is 100% not losing a Valentine's Day themed show. Petticourt, man, the last thing Chulo Montana needs is to build up that ego. All respect given to Chulo Montana, incredible athlete. Honestly, he talks a lot of smack. He's very high on himself, but when he gets in that ring, he always delivers. Former tag team champion, as we know, with Y Keys. TJ is awesome, man. I've been watching this young kid wrestle. Last time he came to WDWA, I thought he was very talented. Looking to see these two just go at it. I just think both of them are going to just put on an amazing show. Really, this is a coin flip, man. They can go back and forth. A lot of us are used to watching Chulo Montana in a tag team competition. It's different when you don't have anybody out there watching your back and you're doing your things on your own. So, what's Chulo saying now? What? I'm humble as fuck, Gavin. You've been being silly right now. Nah, it's the truth, man. I know heads swell, and I know you get in there and you start winning a lot of matches, especially winning titles. You kind of get this big headspace, but until somebody shuts Chulo up, he could talk all he wants, right? I mean, you are what you believe you are until somebody proves that you're not. And that's why I'm not going to come up here. I'm not going to, say Chulo's going to lose this match or anything. I know both these competitors are freaking great. I'm happy that WDWA is going to be the platform for this match. A lot of people don't know TJ Price. I think that, he's here to make a statement. He's here to show everybody that, he's not just a new face. He's going to make an impact, so looking forward to it, John. Can't wait to see it. Light heavyweight division is always excels here in WDWA, and now it's under the branch of Chulo Montana. So looking forward to it, John.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be one heck of a show. And of course, just before that show, we'll be right back here 2 weeks from tonight with another great episode of Elevation. We should have all the matches announced by then, and we should be bringing back the fans weigh-in. And so can't wait for that. And so just absolutely looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too, John. Way to say it, buddy. But yeah, we'll see everybody, next weekend, February 7th at South Berkeley Fire Hall in Inwood, West Virginia. Doors open up at 5:30. Bell time 6:15, John. Until next time, guys, I am the owner of WDWA, Mr. Gavin Jackson. I'm here with the host with the most, my man, Hardcore Hoss. Hardcore Hoss, number 17 in the books, brother.
It's been a pleasure, Gavin. Always a pleasure to be here with you. And just looking forward to number 18.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Everybody in the chat, thanks for showing us so much love. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Peace.